Right to it. All guests come to you from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Joining us right now on the hotline is Brian Mahoney, senior NBA reporter for the Associated Press. Brian, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday. Your thoughts on the Kings season and how they keep exceeding the expectations across the NBA this year?
Yeah, I watched them last night. That looks like a lot of fun in that building right now. That's a good team. I also played with a lot of pace, great style for the way the NBA game is right now. And, look, that second seed is obviously available to them. They're right there. And, we thought they were a playoff team this year, but I don't think quite to the level it looks like they can get to.
The playoffs seem almost a sure thing at this point. People around these parts don't like hearing that with 16 years of no playoffs. They think I'm going to jinx it, Brian, but I feel like it's almost a sure thing. How dangerous are they once they get there? Are they a team to be taken seriously, or are we still not quite there yet?
See, it's interesting because obviously everyone says, well, okay, you can play fast during the regular season, but then the playoffs, everything slows down. But that's not the case anymore. The game hasn't, in the playoffs, you can still play in the later regular season. Everyone still plays, up tempo. And so, yeah, I think they'll be fine. Obviously, the experience thing is a problem, but, after a couple of games, you get used to it. Certainly, if you open at home, I don't care what your experience is, having to go into what it looks like the environment that building is will be tough for any team.
Brian Mahoney is with us here, Cattles Ramie, Sactown Sports, on this Tuesday. Brian, is Mike Brown a shoo-in for Coach of the Year for you?
Oh, yeah, I think so. There's a couple guys who have had great years, obviously. And, you look at Boston, what Joe Mazzulla had to go into, and Jacques Vaughn, what became of the Nets season. But Mike Brown, from start to finish, I think has just had a terrific year, and he's well-deserving. What a great coach, great guy he is.
What about Monte McNair for Executive of the Year? When you look at how much this roster has turned over in the last 2 years and the results that they've gotten out of it, I can't imagine too many GMs around this league have done more work than Monte McNair.
No, it's been a nice putting together of a team over the last couple of years. And, that award is always kind of strange because a lot of times it's sort of what happened the year before, how it plays out this year, and the executives vote on that. And we always can't quite tell what they factor in. But I would think certainly with what's happened out there this season, he'd be have a good resume, a good shot at that one.
Brian Mahoney is with us. He is on the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Let's look elsewhere now in the NBA, Brian. You just mentioned the 2 seed being right there for the grabbing for the Kings. Mostly, you look at this Grizzly situation. How difficult of a situation do you think Memphis has on their hands right now with Ja Morant and company?
Well, it's really difficult. And, this was a team who we thought could challenge for the West title this year after, the great season last year. And, we don't know how long he'll be out. They obviously have another big injury there that just came the same time. So it's a depleted roster without their best player for an unknown amount of time. So I don't expect them to kind of stay where they are. How far down the fall remains to be seen, but it'd be hard to imagine they can not take some kind of hit here.
That's the team in front of them. The team in the rear view, the Phoenix Suns, they keep getting larger and larger in the rearview mirror, Brian. How dangerous is that team with Kevin Durant?
Well, I think extremely dangerous. They're going to put up the points. They're going to have a score on the floor at all times when you look at Booker, when you look at Durant. And then, Ayton is, he showed he was a force in the playoffs a couple of years ago. You have Chris Paul running that team still. So, again, it's always tough no matter how good your team is when you make a trade late in the season and you only have 20-something games to put it together. But, Phoenix is going to be, no one's going to want to play them at any point in time when you look at the firepower they have on the floor.
Brian, how significant are the Celtics struggles over the last week or two? They were mentioned as the favorites to win the title. There's been some slippage there. Would you be concerned if you were them?
I am, yeah. And I have watched closely. They were here in New York recently. They don't really have a power style they can go to. It's a finesse kind of team right now, which is not a traditional East team. And when you look at having to play, Milwaukee's power or, Philly with Embiid, Cleveland has some big guys. New York does. I don't know how well Boston matches up with that. You'd like to be able to kind of cover all your bases. I'm not sure they can. Now, I'm not going to rule out them still winning this thing. They have had a great season. Tatum and Brown are an unbelievable combination, but I do think they're missing something right now for sure.
Being in New York, I have to ask you, how long till the Knicks let all their fans down?
Everyone is, I can't imagine what it's like out there. Everyone kind of getting back on there. They're on the bandwagon here as well. And we haven't had many good seasons over here. So, I do think this is a really good team based on, how long they've been playing well. It's been since probably mid-December. They've been a pretty decent team. So, will they be let down? Probably, but there's at least reason to believe in it.
Brian Mahoney is with us. Brian, since you're in New York, we look at this Brooklyn Nets situation and what happened. Just how much of a toll did the whole KD Kyrie thing take on that basketball team and that franchise?
I mean, it was disappointing because, you only have such a small window when you have sort of elite players together. And, a couple of years ago, they probably could have won before James Harden and Kyrie got hurt in the playoffs. And you say, okay, next year. And then it just never happened. Kyrie didn't play enough. Kevin Durant got hurt. And eventually they both wanted out. And, now look, they're still an okay team. They'll probably still at least get in the play-in, if not the playoffs. But, you don't get a Kevin Durant kind of Kyrie Irving kind of player very often. And who knows when they'll do it next. So it was a complete disappointment of an error for them for sure.
Big picture, how wide open is this thing when you talk about how many teams can actually win an NBA championship this year? Because in my eyes, it's as wide open and as wide a field as we've seen in a long time. A couple teams stand out above the rest, but still at least a handful that I would give a chance.
I totally agree with you, and it's not like that at all. Most seasons, you probably go maybe 3 to 4 deep at most in each conference. I think it's more than that. I mean, obviously, you have 2 teams in the East who seem the best in Boston or Milwaukee, but you're not going to rule out Philadelphia or Cleveland making a run. And then in the West, look, as we mentioned, Phoenix before as a 4 seed, Golden State, if they're healthy, who's going to rule them out? So for sure, you can look at 5 deep in the West and maybe 4 deep in the East.
Last one for you, Brian, as you get the national anthem behind you, dealing with some stuff. We got one more for you, though. Are the Bucks the best team in the NBA?
I think so. I think Giannis is all around, to me, the best player. Drew Holiday is unbelievable on both ends of the floor. They've upgraded their bench a couple times with moves they've made, and they're experienced. So, yeah, I think for sure I would pick Milwaukee right now as a team that I think is the team to beat.
All right, Brian, we appreciate the time and your focus during this phone call. It is much appreciated. Let's do it again soon, my man.
At least I know we're going to play later on. Yeah, I'll recognize the song.
We'll talk to you soon, Brian. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
There goes Brian Mahoney, senior NBA reporter for the Associated Press. Of course, Brian was on the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Oh, you pushed right through.